Hello there. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on those time zones. My name is Eggs Benny, and we are playing Curse of Strahd, episode 52. We've been doing this for a year, and it has been a glorious ride. But I couldn't do it without my players. Starting off, we have our druid.
Hello, everybody. It is your friendly neighborhood mess here. And I play the Furball Druid Somber Elvis, who is very much nervous, going to look after his two children, make sure that nobody gets into too much trouble.
And speaking of his children, we have our barbarian cleric.
Hi everyone, I'm English Ray. I play the Baba Cleric, a miracle. What path will we decide today? There are many to choose from, and we'll probably pick the one that we shouldn't.
Thinking of all the different paths that could potentially be chosen, we have our artificer.
Hey, I'm Dusky B. I'm playing Jack with his left-hand mechanical man, King. There's only one path. Take it out, Strahd.
And one of the people with the most invested to take out Strahd is our paladin.
Hello. I'm Naren Nightingale, and I will be doing Aurora Rose. Yeah, she definitely wants to get into that castle. There's too many people in there that she loves for her to give up on that.
So, where we left off last week, the party had allied themselves with a lady of the name of Esmeralda. She had essentially hinted at the potential of a safe haven within the walls, the Made of Mist that is Barovia. She said that if they were willing to follow her, she would take them to an old wizard's tower that had essentially been left abandoned for however long. Upon arriving at the tower, the party finds that it's not as abandoned as Esmeralda had initially hinted at, and now there was another wagon popped outside. It bore the name of Rictavio, a circus performer that the party had semi-befriended while they were still in Valaki. And now, here was his wagon. And there also was his saber-toothed tiger, ready to attack anyone that opened the back door. Entering the tower, they were introduced to a famous vampire and monster hunter known as Rudolf van Richten. The party were able to convince Van Richten that actually they were a worthy cause to back. It's this idea that he believes them worth the time and believes that they're worth the effort. So, he gave them a little bit of advice. Some places of where they could go, some places that potentially might have the information that they seek. And they ended the day with quite a few potential places that they could go and some potential outcomes for the next day. But that's something to talk about later. Right now, we need to focus on something else, and that is the night. All of you get a decent night's sleep. All of you don't have nightmares. All of you are not touched by any kind of outside force.
Yay!
You're all able to get a long rest. Any exhaustion that you have is gone. So now the question becomes, as you wake up from your night's sleep, Van Richten isn't there. He's not there to greet you, but he also isn't necessarily there in the tower. What's the plan, everyone?
As far as I'm aware, we're gonna go talk to Baba Lysaga.
Yeah. Um, Probably best course of action is to get these nightmares taken care of. Um, so definitely make a plan on what to do and how to go about it.
Sorry, quick question. You know how you said we were gonna long rest?
Mm.
Do I get my hit points back, or is it still like decreased?
Your hit point maximum is still decreased. That's a whole separate fact that you're gonna have to find a way to deal with somehow.
Okay, great, love that.
Okay. So what I'm hearing from the group is that the plan is to go and contact Baba Lysaga. Okay. Easy enough. Done. Are you doing anything before you leave? In the sense of, are you waking up and leaving immediately? Or is there any kind of preparations that you're wanting to do?
Like how we go about this, like what kind of words do we use, like come up with a little bit of a script, probably. I mean, I know she's not a hag, but she's still an incredibly powerful being that we need to try to keep on our good side and not offend accidentally.
So who wants to do the talking?
I'm so sorry, I have the heater in my mouth. We don't know what she is. It's probably gonna be a good idea to still treat her like she kind of is a hag, just so we're kind of covered on all our bases. But that also means the less people that talk, the better. And
Sandra, would you
I don't
be
know.
wanting to handle this one?
Ah, oh, um, I, I'm not great at talking with people. Um, I would, rather somebody, with a little bit more, people skills, be the one to talk, actually. I can give advice on the side, but, I'm scared I'm going to say something stupid and, ruin everything.
Alright. Looking for people skills. He's gonna turn his gaze over to Aurora.
Aurora gives kind of like an almost awkward little smile, just like, I can if you want. Faye and whatever else, whatever possible thing she might be isn't.
Well, could just be a normal person.
That's fair. Just creatures and words involving deals aren't my strong suit with socialization, but I'm I can talk, be the one to do the talking if you
No
want.
offense, but you're not really selling yourself right now, and that worries me.
I have offered because, as stated, these aren't my forte, and I am not going to risk everyone's lives on a misstep.
I am absolutely fine to be the one to do the talking, especially since it's because of me we're gonna be going to see her.
It's not necessarily technically because of you, Amira. It's because of a hag deciding to haunt you. If it was haunting anyone else, we'd still be going. But if you're willing to do the talking, Amira, appreciate that.
I still think it's a good idea to figure out the vague outline of what we're gonna ask for. Um, Especially because we don't want to be indebted or anything. So I think that's probably a good place to start as well, is to just figure out what we want to say, how we want to say it.
But we also don't know what they're going to want for what we're asking.
We can ask about terms.
Well, that's the thing. Where even if it's more so down to a deal of, if you do this thing for me, I'll do this thing for you. So
Yeah, it's a thing of being upfront and saying, I am seeking X. However, before that is fulfilled, I would like to know your terms and potentially what I would have to do in order to get your advice or help or whatever.
basically, um, along those lines, yes. The more we know, the better. So if we have to haggle, if we have to do something a little bit out of our way, or possibly give up monetary value, it's all worth it. But we just need to be careful to what we're agreeing to, just in case. Not that I don't think that you're smart enough to figure that out. He kind of like pats Amira on the head. I just worry. Um, a lot, actually.
I get that, and I'm the same. But I I grew up with the Vistani. I know how to word things and phrase things fairly well, I would say. I'm not as great as Azazel, but I can be selective with my words. The main issue is that we don't know what we're going up against. And I am more than happy to err on the side of caution.
So we go there. Let you do the talking. See what she wants in return for helping us trying to get, or not so much trying, helping us get the hag here so we can take them out. But before we agree, we just need to make sure whatever price they offer is the price we're willing to pay.
It's definitely a thing I would say, which will be, we'd like to know your terms before we agree to anything. We shall need to discuss it, kind of thing. I can do that. That I can do.
Alrighty. We all ready?
Well, as ready as we really can be. Question. Is Esmeralda coming with us? Or is she wanting to stay behind? She's more than welcome to come with us if she wants to.
Is that Sonder turning to her to ask?
Is your mic muted?
No.
Are you good, buddy?
Yeah, it should be fine.
Uh-oh. Okay, there you are.
Well, what I said was, is that you, Sonder, turning to her to ask? Because at this point you've just been having a conversation with her in the room, but not really acknowledging her.
Yeah, okay. Sonder will turn to her with like a little bit of a nervous smile and just, I know you just met us, and we're not exactly the best of friends yet, but you can come with us if you'd like, but nobody will pressure you if you have other things to do. He just gives her a little bit of a nervous smile.
She kind of gives you like a chuckle that the best way I can describe it is like it's good-naturedly sarcastic. Like there's a bit of sass in there, but it's not meant to be offensive.
Mm-hmm.
Last I checked, I don't really have any plans. So I am more than fine to go on an expedition to the swamp with you.
Sander's ears kind of perk up a little bit at that. And he gives her a more genuine smile. And he nods his head. Thank you. We really appreciate it. And we can use all the help that we can get. So thank you.
And, at the end of the day, kind must look after kind, right? She looks over to you, Amira, and gives you like a little bit of a wink.
Well, we have your back, you have ours. And you're right. We should look after each other.
Alright. Let's get going.
Jack is just gonna start lugging King outside of the castle or that tower.
Sandra will help.
I will have.
Yeah. All of us are just like dragging him out.
And as soon as you...
Aurora.
Oh, go on.
I was gonna say, Aurora's gonna head out and see if, like, make sure her horse is still there with, like, no magic in the tower, and if not, she's gonna just summon it again.
Because of the nature of Find Steed, as long as the horse stayed away from the tower, it will have been fine.
Okay.
But yeah, you drag King out the door. And realistically, once you're past that, like, 5-foot perimeter, you can immediately then start to hear the cogs turning. And you know that you don't need to drag him anymore.
Glad to see you took a good nap.
Sandra will definitely go over and like give King a bit of a hug and just like a nice pat on the back and just glad to see you're working back to normal, buddy. We missed you.
In the standard way Sonder King shows no emotion, but he's smiling. To you, he's smiling.
Mm-hmm. He is still my buddy, and he will still get back pats.
Okay. You leave the central island back over the bridge, and you find yourself at your first junction. Do you turn left or do you turn right?
Do we know which way we need to go?
South. I believe, Rudolph marked where we needed to go on the map. He gave us directions how to go to the castle, and he also told us how to get to Baba Lysaga, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
Sandra will pull out the map and look at the path that he marked out.
So, from the map that you've got, it doesn't actually matter which way you go, because either left or right will take you back to the crossroads that you need to go, to Berez.
Got you.
But you would, actually, Sonder, make a survival check for me, please,
Oh, okay.
as you're looking at this map.
Dirty 20.
With a dirty 20, while the distance, in fairness, is negligible, going left is probably, like, slightly quicker.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And yeah, Sandra will kind of like turn to Jack with the little map in his hand and just be like, technically, if we go to the left, that does get us there a bit faster. So we should probably go that way.
Fair enough. I appreciate it. We'll start heading left. Going down the left path.
Okay. You're walking for in fairness, almost an hour, going through this country lane and diving in and out through the trees. But eventually, you do make it back to that set of crossroads.
Yay!
It's the first sign of civilization rather than just walking through like a clumped forest path. And again, Sonder, with your dirty 20 on the survival check, you would know that you essentially need to just head straight across the crossroads.
Got you. Okay, awesome. And I will tell that to the group.
Yeah, that's just gonna rely on Sandra's directional skills.
Okay. You continue down this path and continue down the road leading to what you've been told is the village of Berez. Or at least, what was the village of Berez.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find, because there is a specific... There we go. The trail hugs the river for several miles. The dirt and grass soon turn to marsh as the trail dissolves into spongy earth, pockmarked with strands of tall reeds and pools of stagnant water. A thick shroud of fog covers all. Scattered throughout the marsh are old peasant cottages, their walls covered with black mildew, their roofs mostly caved in. These decrepit dwellings seem to hunker down in the mire, as though they have long since given up on escaping the thick mud. Everywhere you look, black clouds of flies dart about, hungry for blood. The fog is much thinner on the far side of the river, where a light flashes amid a dark ring of standing stones.
Is Ellie cutting out for anybody else, or is it just me?
No, it's cutting out for me too.
Okay.
Get that last bit again with the standing stones and the thinner fog.
Essentially, in front of you is the shells of cottages that have been long abandoned, and to your left there is a light that is flashing through the fog around some standing stones.
Interesting. Is the flashing light, like, is it colored at all, or is it just kind of like blinking?
Neither. It's swaying.
Okay. So if it's not blue, then it's not a will-o-wisp, so we don't have to worry about that. But following lights is probably not the safest course of action.
Why do you say that?
Well, from my experience, lights, in the middle of nowhere, magically, usually aren't not a good sign. They're usually a lure. So if somebody were to try to follow them, say somebody that was lost and confused, then it would either lead them deeper into something else's territory, or it would lead them into a trap of some sort. And neither are really good.
Well, we're trying to find Baba Lasaya, which, from the sounds of it, people don't like. So, this is a trap by her. Her territory. That sounds like the perfect place we want to be going.
Sandra kind of just gives her a very, very shaky smile. And just, well, wherever the herd goes, I will follow. But, just be careful, please.
Jack will start making his way towards the light.
Okay. So, just for future reference.
Sandra.
I will follow.
Yeah, Sandra is right behind him as well.
For future reference, you can't see further than 120 feet in front of you. Because after that point, the fog gets so thick that you just can't see. So you're kind of fumbling your way through this fog, Jack, until it almost appears through the periphery. There's a river. And the standing stones are on the other side of it.
There's a what?
A river.
Oh, that's not good. Jack will turn his walk to start walking alongside the river. See if there's potentially a bridge to get across.
Mm-hmm. Just to catch you up on where we are, Saya, they are now in the village where they've been told that Baba Lysaga lives.
Okay. Did we all sleep?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
So, Jack, walking along the edge of this river, trying to find some kind of a bridge. How far are you willing to walk?
At least 100 feet before stopping. Probably don't turn back.
Yeah. In that case, you walk that 100 feet. And you aren't able to find any kind of bridge. But the light is still there.
Go and try to find, or how dangerous does this river seem? Like, is this like a rushing white river, or is this more like just a still water type thing?
Oh, it's incredibly sluggish. But you also can't tell how deep it is.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What does the plant life look like around the river?
Oh, it's long, like, river reeds and marshy bogland. So there's a good bit of peat, good bit of moss. But the main thing that's there is reeds.
Okay. I might be able to make us a bridge. Yeah, okay. Seeing that we can't find a bridge or anything, Sonder like crouches down near the riverbank, and he puts his hands gently to the earth, and he casts shaped plants.
Okay. I'm gonna need to read this spell. Arrange the fist within a 5-foot cube and take on whatever shape you desire. Okay.
I also want to increase the amount of plants there so that we can make the bridge a bit more steady instead of just made of a couple reeds.
That is something we can definitely do. So any plant life you can see within range that fits within a 5-foot cube. Okay, so the only problem that we have with this is that it only covers a 5-foot cube. And the river is wider than that.
Okay. How big is the river? Like across?
Where is the description of this river? Where is it? Why is there not a helpful thing? Where's the tooltip that tells me how wide it is? Okay, so you walked down 200 feet. 300 feet across?
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, never mind.
So I'll let you take the spell back because you wouldn't have known at that point. Well, no, you as Sonder would have known that spell only affects like a 5-foot cube, and the river goes past your vision of 120 feet.
Yeah, rip. Okay. I'm gonna see if I have anything else in my arsenal to help, but oof, alright.
I think at that point, Esmeralda is looking at you all, seeing that you're trying to find a bridge, seeing that you're trying to think of spells, and there's definitely a point that you can see her thinking about something, like you can see the cogs turning, and then she just shrugs and starts to take off her coat.
You're gonna swim
I
this?
really wouldn't recommend that.
You want someone to find out
This
what's
is
across the river,
marshy.
right?
Yeah, but not at a risk to you.
I might actually have something that can help.
You're gonna turn into a giant bird and just like flies all across.
No, but I do have water walk.
Ah,
Up to 10 willing creatures you can see within range gain this ability. So, It lasts for an hour, and it is technically a ritual cast, so nobody will have to swim.
I guess that's better than me suggesting I swim my horse across.
Don't you fly?
Yes, once a day, and there's battle benefits for that as well, so I'd rather not use it unless I have to. Though I was debating it, it just wouldn't benefit everybody else.
Sandra kind of just gives her a smile and a nod. Well, it was an idea, but if everybody is all right, if I cast this, I can do that now.
Yeah.
That'd make things a lot easier.
All right.
What is the casting time for Wartwalk?
Let's see. It just says it's one action.
Okay, so to cast it as a ritual... No, that's the thing. So as a spell, it takes an action. As a ritual, it takes 10 times the amount. So you're going to be sat there for a minute casting the spell.
Oh, that's fine. That's completely
10
fine.
minutes just to cast a ritual?
It's 10 times the amount. So if a spell would take a minute, and then you cast this ritual, it takes 10 minutes.
Okay.
But if it's an action, then it's just a minute.
Yeah, that is completely fine with me.
Okay, so you sit there, you cast the spell. There are less than 10 willing creatures standing around you at the moment.
Yay.
So everyone is able to be affected, including the horse.
Hell yeah. So King doesn't have to walk on the bottom and short out anything. And lovely Horsey can cross perfectly fine too. Sandra will kind of like shake himself out of it, and like just put a foot down on the water just to make sure that the spell took.
And you watch as, while your boot still gets wet, it doesn't sink.
He turns back to look at everybody with like a smile and double thumbs up, and just kind of like gesture his arm forward as if like a come on, let's go. And he will start to cross.
Jack will be a little skeptical because it sounds like this is the first time he's ever used water.
Listen, man, I usually don't have to walk on water. I can just swim as a fish, so.
Say is unsure about it too, just for the fact that she can't swim anyway. So
Yeah.
she's just gonna look at everyone and go, I'm gonna stay here. I don't want to. I don't. It's scary. I don't want to do it.
What if the horse... Saya, what if the horse carries you across? Because the horse has water walk too, right?
Yep.
Yep, so what if the horse crosses the river walking on top while you ride the horse? That way you're as far from the water as you can get.
Are you sure it can hold it?
Sandra will kind of like see the little debate. He'll just kind of like stay at the like water line between the bank and the actual river, and he'll nod to Saya with like a very gentle, understanding smile. I promise that it will not drop you, and getting on the back of the horse is a wonderful idea. And the horse will not fall either. But we only have 1 hour until the effect is lost. So, just as a heads up, we might want to make the decision a bit quick.
She'll nod to Aurora about her idea.
Yep. Aurora would kind of like help her get on the horse and everything.
Like tiny whimpers as she just kind of hold on to the horse for dear life.
She won't bolt. It'll be all right. She's very well trained. Saya.
Everybody-
Yeah. Wait, you cut out. What happened?
She's not gonna bolt. It'll be all right. She's very well trained.
Except for the water part.
I'm not so much worried about the water as the mud and filth in the water and let's go before the spell wears off.
In fairness to you, Aurora, because you've had to walk off the path to come to the side of the river, you've had to walk through at least 100 feet's worth of bogland. Your shoes are wrecked.
She doesn't look too happy about it, but it's that thing of like, I can't do anything about it, but I really don't like this.
Fun?
She's just gonna look at Aurora and go, "Can you hold my hand?"
Of course. She'll reach up, grab Saya's hand, and start relaying the general commands to the horse telepathically. Alright, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna wait for everyone else before we start going.
Okay. There's definitely this change in the sense that you are almost surrounded by this cone of fog. You move through another section and the landscape doesn't seem to change. As you're walking for a good while before you actually manage to see the other side of the bank. And it's from there that you're able to see another set of sanding stones. There's something here. It's larger than the set at the windmill, but it is in a similar formation where these rocks have been set into a circle into this earth by someone long ago. As you actually manage to get up onto the opposite bank, and close enough that you can properly see these stones, you're able to pick out a little bit more detail. There's a dozen of them, and they're moss covered. They form a near perfect circle in the spongy earth. They range from anywhere between 15 and 20 feet. A couple of them lean into the center, as if to share some great secret. There's a wary-looking peasant woman lurking behind the tallest stone, a rusty lantern clutched in one gnarled hand and a dagger clutched in the other.
She's just like standing there. She's not like looking for anything or picking up anything. She's just standing.
Well, she's looking at you.
You know what? That's fair. Sandra will kind of just give her a polite smile and a wave.
Jack will speak up a little bit. Excuse me there, ma'am. Any chance, do you know where Baba Saga is? Where we might be able to find them?
It kind of gives you this skeptical look, Jack. She just looks to you and goes, "And why would you need to know where the witch is?"
We're hoping to talk.
There's definitely a pause as she takes in what you're saying. And you can see her just like give a really exaggerated, like, half of a sigh. She's like, Erwin warned me that you were weird, but this is,
She said the name Erwin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey. Okay, cool. Sandra's ears immediately perk up. You know Erwin and Danica?
I do. I'm here as a favor to them.
Well, any friend of them is a friend of ours. So it's very nice to meet you.
What are you doing here for a favor for them?
Keeping an eye on the lady that you wish to talk to. I saw you approaching and thought I should flag you down at the very least. And she she holds up the lantern that she's holding, and you now realize the light that you saw swaying backwards and forwards was her trying to get your attention with the lantern.
Thank you very much.
Please, can you
keep an eye on her?
Can you do me a favor and step into the circle?
For what reason?
I'll happily explain once you're in. And you do notice that the entire time this lady, like, hasn't left the inner ring of the standing stone circle.
Could you please explain something before we enter?
It's magical, please get in.
Jackal walking.
Sandra will follow right after.
Same.
I guess same with the horse.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Does Esmeralda
Checking.
follow too, or is she sticking
No,
outside?
she does follow. I would say, because of passive perceptions, that Sonda and Amira, as you are obviously taking in this woman's body language, taking in the way that she's talking to you and looking about, there's definitely this moment where, like, as you're coming towards her, she's checking the sky.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
Is this stone circle supposed to protect us from Strahd?
Once you're in the circle, the lady like relaxes quite a bit. Like there's a physical just release of breath as you actually like go cross the boundary of the stones. The stone has protective abilities.
Oh no, Ellie, you cut out again.
The stone has protective abilities. Your mind cannot be read while you are here.
Well, that's very handy.
It's good to know.
It also means that any kind of method of scrying does not work on people that are inside the circle.
Love that.
Is that for any one of these circles?
This one specifically. It's why I'm able to hide from Baba, because she does not know I am here.
Very
So she's
interesting.
not a very happy host?
It depends on your definition. But,
She doesn't like people here then.
she doesn't mind people. If anything, she'll take the company. It's just what she does with them afterwards.
The last thing we want to do is upset her or anything.
Well, then, in that case, some information for you before you walk into the village center, because that's where she is.
Okay.
She lives in a self-constructed hut in the middle of the village. And if she's not in there, then she's flying around in her skull.
I'm sorry?
The lady seems to realize, like,
Flying around in her skull?
yeah, the lady seems to realize, like, what she said, and kind of like has a moment of like, oh yeah, of course, to me that's normal. It's like, she has hollowed out the skull of a giant and rides around in it.
Oh, okay.
Sandra just kind of shivers a little bit at that and takes a bit of a step closer to Jack and Amira. Interesting form of transportation.
She has enchanted the scarecrows to be her watchmen. So I wouldn't touch them if you don't want to be attacked.
Understood.
You said she doesn't mind the company, but she does something to them afterwards. Can we have a little bit more of an explanation about that?
Well, think of it this way. Baba Lysaga keeps a pen of goats up on one of the higher cliff tops. It's an outcropping in the middle of the village. And when she runs out of goats to feed on, who does she turn to?
Ah, I see what you mean.
Now, admittedly, that's guesswork. I've never seen her actually eat a person. But that's also because I'm not going anywhere near that village unless I have to.
Do you have any idea of what kind of, for the lack of a better term, creature she might be? I know that she's not a hag, but she identifies as a witch. So that could be a myriad of different races. Do we have any knowledge about that?
I mean, she appears old. She looks human, in the sense that she doesn't have any kind of defining features. But she's too old to be human. She's lived for centuries.
One more question, but this one's more for you. You said Erwin asked you to be out here for more than a favor, just to keep track of Baba Saga. Just for an eye on them. Are you and Erwin part of that, like, say, underground society against Strahd? If so, that would be fantastic, because we could use the help.
Erwin asked me to look in on Baba because she sends her scarecrows to attack his father.
Where's Erwin's father?
Oh, the Martikovs, they own the Wizard of Wines.
So, been there. Fair enough.
She has it out for the entire family. She attacks them whenever she can.
Is there a reason for that?
Ancient grudge. So it could be that a Martikov decades ago did something and she's holding on to it. I don't know specifics.
If that's the case, I'm in favor of not bringing up Martikovs while we're talking to Baba.
Second that.
Okay, so I'm not to mention Markov's. I'm make sure that I don't get us into a deal and make sure to say that we have to converse before agreeing to anything. Okay, right. I have the rules.
Since you've been watching her for a while, do you have any advice, for the lack of a better term?
She's an incredibly experienced spellcaster, with a lot of magic behind her. As I said, there is a reason that I stay within these stones. I don't need her knowing that I'm here.
Well,
We won't mention you then, either.
I
won't
prefer it
mention you
that way.
either.
I'd prefer it
I'm
that way.
leading this.
to say thank you for that information. Point us towards the center of town.
She kind of lets out like a half-hearted chuckle at that. You can't really miss it. If you cross back over the river, you will get to a point where you find a path. You follow that path, and it will lead you to the center of the village.
Nothing.
I would wish you luck,
We head
but
on.
you are going to need more than that.
Got one other question, actually.
Of course.
How many people have you seen talked about Saga, and how many people have made it back?
Since I was asked recently, mind you, to keep an eye on Baba for the sake of Erwin, I've seen her talk to one other person. And while they made it out, I don't think they had a pleasant experience. Not from the look on their face.
Do you know who the person was?
No. Never seen them before.
I do appreciate it.
I only have so much, so might as well give what I've got, huh?
If you need anything, just let us know. Do our best to try to help out.
From here, it's you that's going to need the help, but I appreciate the offer.
Jack will make his way out of the circle. Start heading back over the river.
Sandra will follow, giving the lady a friendly wave, and a mouthing of "thank you very much," and he follows right behind Jack.
Okay. So as they're all like walking across, would look to Jack one more time. Okay, just so everybody is on the same page when we go and talk to Baba Lysaga, Jack, can you say the rules one more time?
Keep on target. Don't talk about other things. Verify that we're only looking for a quote. We're not agreeing to anything. We need to know the prices first. Be kind. Be considerate. Don't get on their nerve.
Okay.
Allow Amira to do most of the talking as well.
And under no circumstances does anyone other than Amira speak.
Saya will just put her hood on at that moment.
Is everybody in agreement?
Aurora just smiles and like does a thumbs up.
Sandra will give Amira a pat on her shoulder and give it a bit of a squeeze, and just kind of like softly talking to her. Well, whenever you're ready, we got your back.
She would place her hand over his and give it a squeeze. Alright. Because it's best not to keep her waiting.
Okay. You walk back over the river. You make your way to the other side of the bank. Immediately, the spell's pressure wears off, and you begin to sink into the mud and the peat of this marsh. It seems that the lady was right, or at least not lying, in the sense that, keeping on, heading forward, you eventually walk into the back of some of the cottages. You look like you're essentially in the back garden of these houses. And as you make your way forward, you do begin to pick out a pathway. It's only small. It's a few bits of cobblestone here and there peeking out through the mud, but at least it's something. You begin to curl your way round, moving around the back of the houses. And it's there that you see the first of them. Scarecrows. Positioned in the middle of the bog, nothing there to guard, nothing there to watch over. And yet it's here, stuck in the middle of the ground.
Saya's gonna tense up and just put her grip on Aurora's hand like tightly.
Aurora just squeezes back reassuringly.
Skirting around the edge of the houses, making sure to leave the scarecrow alone. You end up in this almost central plaza of an area. It's wide open. It's a place that doesn't have really any architecture or features in front of it for you to really comment on. Until eventually, you make your way past a wall of fences, past a essentially field, walking for a good couple of 100 feet. And that's when you see it. It's a house that looks like a stereotypical log cabin. And it appears to have been built on an oversized stump of a massive oak tree. The foundation, just this set of roots that sprawl and connect to the earth and connect through the ground. It's this strange sight that you're not necessarily ready for, as it's this weird mix of you walking through this swamp and smelling the undergrowth, smelling the rot. And then there's just this ramshackled wooden hut on the stump of an enormous tree. The front of the house, as you walk up to it, has an open doorway. Beneath it floats an upside-down, hollowed-out skull, giving you a toothy, upside-down grin.
Before we got too close, I would like to cast Enhanced Ability on myself.
That's fine.
And I will be choosing Eagle Splendor, so I have advantage on charisma checks.
Easy enough done. As you begin walking up to the front door, you can see that flanking the doorway are two iron cages that dangle like hideous ornaments. Scores of ravens are trapped in each one. They squawk and flutter their wings excitedly as you approach.
So the ravens aren't like... Are they held captive there, or is it like they're okay that they're there?
Well, think of it this way. There are two giant cages hanging on either side of the doorway, and they are stuffed full of ravens. And the ravens look happy to see you.
Oh, okay. That's not great.
Because remember the scarecrows were stuffed with ravens?
Yeah, and also just stitions. Like you don't fuck with the ravens. That's bad juju.
She's apparently powerful enough to counteract that bad juju.
Yeah, which is good for us, but also just like, eeh.
It puts us in a tight spot because, like, the ravens are our friends. So, like, we can't, we want to let them out, but also we don't want to fuck with Baba Lysaga, because if we fuck with her, oh god, we're fucking dead.
Yeah, I ain't doing anything to these ravens. Like... These ravens will just stay where they are.
That hurts. That hurts so bad.
Yeah, it really fucking does, but I'm not about to piss off Baba Lysaga.
It just fucking sucks.
You said her door's open, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that I can like knock on to like? Because I'm not just gonna enter her home.
You could either knock on, like, the stump of the tree that's under the house. You could potentially knock on the skull,
I don't want to knock on the skull.
or it's climbing up the roots and knocking on the hut itself.
Oh, so we're not like in the doorway then yet?
No. Because the way that the house
Okay.
is perched, it's above you.
Okay. I guess we're gonna have to climb first then.
Who's climbing up?
I am, I guess.
Sandra will follow after Amira.
Just as respectfully as I can, I will climb.
Jack and
Yeah.
the king will also be going up.
Okay. You get to the doorway, Amira, and since you will have been the first to start climbing, you see this first. The hut itself is 15 feet square, so 15 feet by 15 feet. And packed with old furniture, including a wooden cot, a wicker cabinet. There is a slender wardrobe off in the back, a wooden table, a stool, a barrel-topped wooden chest, reinforced with brass bands, and an iron tub stained with blood. In the middle of the room is a ghastly wooden crib, with a small, angelic child sitting in it. All the furnishings, except for the crib, are bolted to the floor. Beneath the crib, green light seeps through cracks in the floorboards. Sat in an old rocking chair off in a back corner is a woman that at the moment seems engrossed in, like, watching this baby play, and doesn't seem to have noticed you yet.
Okay, I don't want to be that weird person who just stands in a doorway and watching. So I would very gently, like, knock.
Her head snaps to look at you, and you now get a better look at the woman that is there. Older, but not to the point of being, like, decrepit. Darker skin. Almost has this, like, a grey slate quality to it. Long white hair that's being held back from her face with different pins. It almost looks like she's fashioned her hair around two, like, spools of metal, and they now come up the back of her head, almost like like bunny ears is probably the best way of describing it. Like a cartoon rabbit. She has a widow's peak. And thick, furrowed white eyebrows. And as she turns to look at you, you can see her hand grip the side of the armchair that she's sitting in. And she has unnaturally long nails. Not to the point of claws, but they definitely have begun to curl like talons.
Okay. Hello, ma'am. Pardon the interruption. We're looking for Baba Lasaga.
She looks up to you, back down at the baby in the crib. Kind of like breathes air out of her nose. Yes. That is she. Please, come through the door. The ravens are so loud I cannot hear you speak, girl.
Amira will take a deep breath and walk in.
There isn't a lot of room in here, but there is room for potentially another 2 people. As she kind of gestures to the limited space in the hut that is very centered around this crib.
Sandra gives Amira a look as like, who do you want to be in there with you?
Amira looks to Jack and Zonda.
100%. He'll dip his head as he enters in like a very small, polite bow, and he will stand, like right behind and a little off to the side of Amira.
Jack will enter, but Jack is well focused on what's going on. His gaze is going to be taking in inventory of what's around them, like what's in this hut. Not touching anything, being respectful, but just gazing, like a museum.
Taking in the surroundings.
The best I can give you, Jack, is that she essentially lives in this one room. So everything is here. Bath, bed, table, kitchen, apparently a crib for a baby.
Apparently a baby.
But she even, seeing Aurora and Saya, like, kind of hovering outside, she kind of, like, gestures and goes, "You are more than welcome to sit on my porch. I'm just aware that not everyone can fit inside."
Aurora nods and, like, politely settles outside on the porch.
Yeah, Saya will sit next to her.
Baba gives you a look, Amira, that is essentially just there, like, you can immediately see parallels between Baba and even Madame Ava. Like, they have that same look of being just like, you've seen it before where your like quote-unquote aunts and uncles have gone like a little bit too rowdy. And Madame Ava's just like been holding her head and screwing up her eyebrows like she's getting a migraine just from listening to them. Baba has that very same look on her face, but it's directed towards the ravens who have not stopped cawing since you got there. You'll have to forgive my guests. They obviously have no manners.
The ravens?
1 second. And she begins to mutter something under her breath, doing hand symbols that look to be as if she's casting a spell.
Silence, is it?
Well, you don't know, but she
Okay.
holds a hand out. You can roll an Arcana check if you want, but you don't immediately know what it is.
Can we roll too?
Yeah, anyone seeing it can. If you want to. If you care.
16.
Oof. 9.
Yeah, Sonda, you have no clue. Like, the hand movements that she is using just go over your head. Same with you, Aurora. No clue. Amira, you are able to tell, and it is a silent spell, and it's cast, you can tell, like, just outside the hut, so that it's the ravens that are hit and not you. But what confuses you a little bit is some of the hand movements you don't recognise and some of the words you don't.
Right.
But some of them you do.
Okay.
So that means she's using, like, a hybrid thing where she's using some
Okay.
divinity, but then also not.
Cool.
But at that, the sound of the raven stops. I'll say that Aurora and Saya, you notice that, oh, I can no longer hear the ravens, but you also can no longer hear what's happening outside the circle.
Damn. Are they still able to hear what's going on inside, or no?
I need to check the description of silence, because if I remember correctly,
No,
no?
can't hear anything. Can't hear anything in or out of it.
Are they part of in the circle, or no, though? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
You are, yeah. Yeah, no sound can be created within or pass through the sphere. So you can't make noise and you also can't hear what's being said anymore.
Okay.
I just wrote it into the chat for you.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it. And you'd be able to figure that out once, say, you're there like, oh, this is really quiet. And then you look at Aurora to start talking and your mouth is moving, but no sound is coming out.
I didn't roll because I didn't get a chance to, but should I roll to know what the spell is?
Well, because of where you've positioned yourself, are you looking through the door?
Sure.
Okay, you can roll.
I think I'm gonna fail this anyway. She's not that smart.
Oh, there you go. That is enough. You know that it is the use of the silence spell.
Okay.
So you're there like, oh, that's why I can't hear. Like, so fine. So then I guess you're given a choice of whether you stay where you are and not hear what's coming through the door, or go inside.
Da. Saya's gonna pull out the notebook and the charcoal pencil that she has. And she is going to write on it. It's a silent spell. We can't hear anything. Should we go inside? And we'll show it to Aurora.
Aurora would kind of just shrug and kind of gesture her head towards everybody else, like, we're supposed to wait out here, so, like, eh? It's like, I don't want to upset her, and we agreed to wait out here. But she's also not entirely comfortable not knowing what's going on in there. She's just willing to wait out there to keep the peace.
She'll nod and just kind of put the stuff away then and just keep sitting there.
Alright. Meanwhile,
Aurora's gonna start, like, kind of watching between everybody, trying to kind of figure out through facial expressions to try to kind of keep up a general idea of if stuff is going our way or not.
Honestly, Saya wants to, like, see if she can accomplish lip reading, but probably not.
okay. So
There's a feat for that.
yeah, there is a feat for that. What I will say is that if you're trying to lip read, give me a perception check. And then if you're trying to read emotions, then that's an insight check.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'll try a perception too.
You're doing better than me.
Okay. I will let you know how much you understand.
Okay.
So, the silent spell has just been cast. Baba reaches up and she begins to, like, squeeze the bridge of her nose, like in between her thumb and forefinger. Just there, like, ugh, I'm trying to ward off a headache that's brewing. But she looks up to you through that furrowed brow. And what can I do for you today?
It's more an inquiry. And then I guess we can take it from there. I've been having nightmares because of a hag. And we can't find the hag to stop the nightmares. And we were wondering if you had any information or could help us.
You can see her thinking about that as a request. As well, it'll depend on the assistance that you're asking for. What are you wanting? Specifically, what are you wanting?
Am I allowed to say it and it not to, like, put anything into action, but just as a kind of, just like to let you know kind of thing, but like we're not agreeing to anything yet.
My dear, you see, there's no contract. There's no written agreement. We're not shaking hands. I cannot help you unless I know what you want.
Okay. I want to get rid of the hag, and I want to get rid of whatever she's done to me.
And you say that this hag has been giving you nightmares. How do you know it is a hag?
Well, we went to the mill, and there were 3 hags there. We only was able to deal with 2 of them. So we're assuming the 3rd one is the one that's given me the nightmares. We also consulted somebody else who knows a little bit more about hags than we do, and they said it sounds like a hag.
There are certain things that are beyond my ability. I cannot unfortunately drag this hag kicking and screaming in front of you. It's not something I can do. I can check to see if she is here, listening in. I might even be able to point at her for you.
Okay.
That is the best that I can offer you. At least for this specific problem.
What would that cost me and my group?
Cost? Nothing. It'll be entertaining. That's what it'll cost you. I want to hear your thought process. Once I give you the answer, I want to hear what your plan is going to be. Because I'm assuming that you are desperate if you have come to me for advice.
I look to Jack.
Jack and Sonder, roll me insight checks, please.
Ooh.
Okay. The best way that I can describe Baba Lysaga's vibe is that before you mentioned the mill, it was very much a bored DMV employee just going through the questions and like not really caring, not giving a shit, like very low energy. As soon as you mention the mill and bring up that that is where these creatures are from, she perked up immediately. And she seems very genuinely invested in this moment.
Jack will motion to Mira, try to convey like, "Can I speak?"
Amira like is wide-eyed and is like just nodding at you, as if to be like, "Yes, please," because I don't know if I can say what I want to say.
Did you have ties with those who were at that mill?
How about these? I will answer your question once I find out if they're here or not. Those ladies do not need to hear my opinion of them.
Understandable. We'll keep the gossip on the down low. She didn't answer for your question about what our plan was. We have no means of making it to whatever plane of existence they're on. Except for myself. Potentially. So, whatever it takes.
Well,
that is my plan on, if they were here, what I would do. Not asking for assistance or anything like that, just something I would do.
and she just begins to nod, taking in what you're saying. Now that I can work with. You watch as the baby disappears. The angelic cherub in the middle of the room is now gone. It's just vanished. As she begins to weave, the weave in between her fingers, you can see magic pouring out of what she's doing. And she begins to recite these incantations, moving her fingers backwards and forwards. This is magic beyond what you've ever seen. Eventually the spell dissipates. And her eyes are now a different colour. They were this like muddy greeny brown, whereas now they almost have this like silvery film over them. You see her.
Is that magic at all similar to Ava's?
Again, yes and no.
Okay.
There are similarities, but there is differences. You see her detach what looks to be a small little vial off a belt loop of the caftan that she's wearing. And she uncorks it with her teeth and pours the ointment, because you're looking at the vial and it looks to be this kind of like Yeah, ointment is the best way of describing it. It's like this thick, fatty substance, and she pours it into her eyes. She does this as if it's like there's no hesitation, no thought to it. Recorks it, puts it on her belt. And there's definitely this moment of, I'd say Sonder especially, like you feel this shiver go down your spine. It's like, this is uncanny. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel real. But she steps outside the hut. She gets inside that skull of hers. And she zips off.
Interesting.
So we're
Okay.
currently alone in her house.
For now.
I look to Jack. You do anything? Really?
Jack does not say a word.
You really had to say anything? You really had to, like, not put a limit on it?
She's gone for
Just-
about... Oh, go on.
He's just gonna poker face still on, still not saying a word, just finding a point in the room, just to stay focused on.
I would say, Jack, your attention is naturally drawn to that section under the crib, where there's just this sickly green light coming from between the floorboards.
No, I'm not doing anything with that. That is just asking for bad news.
She's gone for about 2 minutes. Comes back, parks the skull, which is a surreal thing to see, where she essentially both descends and reverse bay parks at the same time.
Damn, girl's got skills. Okay.
But she steps out of the skull, back into the hut. She still has the film over her eyes. She looks to you and goes, I'm assuming that you talked quite openly and publicly about coming to visit me, because she is not here.
We have.
And now I can answer your question honestly. I believe that the 3 hags, as they call themselves in the mill, are leeches. Are not worth the spit they put in their pastries.
Yes, and with that being said, we got a barrel of whatever substance that has some magical properties to it. That wouldn't be something you might be interested in.
I'm always interested in new magic. That is something we can do. She sits back in her armchair and does just like a vague hand wave gesture towards the crib. And the image of the angelic, beautiful child is back. And it's the best way I can describe it is it's the very definition of the dough ball stage of being a baby, where it's fat upon fat, roll upon roll, and it's just like so deliciously cute. You can just pinch the cheeks. Its hair is covered in these beautifully placed black curls, and these piercing blue eyes that just immediately make you think that this baby is beautiful. And it manages to get itself up on its feet, paddling about, using the crib rim as a balancing point, and it looks up to the three of you and smiles and begins to babble and coo.
Oh, I so want to pick this baby up, but no, that is such a terrible idea.
Mm-hmm. Sonder kind of just looks down at the baby and kind of when you I don't know if anybody else does this, but when a small child comes up to you, you do the very gentle, placating smile, and you hunch your shoulders a little bit, and you do the wave where it's just the tips of your fingers and it curls down towards your palm. Like that. I don't know if that's just me, but Sonder does that where he just kind of smiles gently and waves a little bit, but does not interact otherwise.
We call it the wide eye smile. Your eyes go wide and you just you're making nonsensical but smiley faces at the child.
Looking as disarming as possible.
Looking at that baby is actually the first true moment that you see Baba smile. This entire time she's kind of had a mixture between a Scrooge-like scowl and a look of vague interest, whereas looking at this baby seems to bring her genuine joy. She looks back up to you, though, and looking at the group. Is that all you were wanting from me?
Primarily, yeah.
Alright.
I have no idea what you said. But you said something, D?
I said primarily, yes.
That means there is a secondary.
It's not something I'm actively seeking assistance with. What are your thoughts on Strahd? If we're going to be talking gossip about people.
No, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, she would actually smile at you and beam. And I think everyone that's looking in the door would kind of have this moment of gut-wrenching sickness, because it's the exact same smile that a proud parent would have when you're talking about their child.
Oh,
Mm.
fuck.
Strahd is a powerful man that has worked hard for the things that he has in this life. He has given up a lot, given up so much for the things that he has, and has worked hard to try and make his life as good as it can be. You will never hear a bad word about me, about my son.
So interesting. Okay, okay.
So you're his mother?
I was there the day he was born.
Jack would slightly smile a bit.
I've been there since the beginning. And she looks down again at the illusion in the crib, and that's when it clicks. This is Strahd as a baby.
Oh.
Could I ask one more thing? Can you tell me, or Gale, actually, Strahd's life? How he grew up, his trials, his tribulations. I'd love to hear the story.
And why would you be needing to know the story?
I'm not from here. You probably could have picked that up. But it also don't seem to have a way out of this plane. So getting familiar with where I'm at, who's here, especially some of the most powerful people here. I don't want to be caught unaware, especially because he's going to have a wedding soon.
Ah, yes. He came to inform me personally. I was so happy when he told me. Jack, roll a persuasion check for me, please.
I am going to use a flash of genius on this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. She looks up to you, Jack, and although she is still smiling, she looks to you and goes, "No, I think that is something to be saved for the wedding speeches, do you not think? Mother of the groom, the only one living anyway."
You gonna make it to the wedding?
I wouldn't miss it.
Fair enough. I hope to see you there.
Is it you, the guest that we're waiting on?
Potentially.
That actually makes sense now, though. I can see why you wouldn't want to bring extra +1s onto a wedding that they were not invited to. Well,
We'll save that for a later date. We'll figure out this leecher deal. do appreciate you trying to help us out.
My advice to you, since she is not here to be able to hear it, is I would pretend to be asleep. Wait for her to have her moment, and then pounce. She's not going to do anything during the day. Not if she doesn't think she can get away with it.
I like that idea.
It just depends on your acting.
Thank you. Oh. Some of us can, some of us not as well.
Well,
Jack is going to go into his bag and pull out the carousel.
mm-hmm.
One with the wolves attached to it and all that jazz.
Oh?
Do you mind if I give this to you? No, it's not an actual kid, but kid's toy. Got this from shop over in Vlaki.
And you can see like a
Thanks.
genuine moment of being quite touched. She steps out of the chair to come and take it from you, and comparing her height to all of yours, Amira, she's only just taller than you.
Okay.
She's not this imposing figure. She's an old woman. But she takes the carousel in a way where she cups her hand over yours, Jack, like as she takes it. Looks you in the eye and gives you a genuine thank you. It's been a long time since someone has come bearing me a gift.
Time we find a way your neck of the woods, I'll be sure to get something better for you. Any quests, tastes?
And she gives that actually a little bit of genuine thought. I'm not going to need any kind of gifts for at least another 2 weeks. You do not need to worry.
Fair enough. I think we'll stop taking up your time. Get out of your way.
It has been an interesting morning. Well, almost afternoon now. As she just doesn't seem to be looking at anything in particular, just kind of looks up at the top of her hut. I wish you good journeys for everything else that you have planned for today.
Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful day today.
She takes the carousel and places it in the crib. And the cherub does actually turn to like play with it. but you watch as its pudgy little fingers just pass through the carousel rather than like papping it on the top or moving the wolves around. It's doing everything a baby would do. It's just an illusion.
Jack will turn, start heading out.
As you're walking out, the silent spell is lifted, and you are immediately surrounded by the sound of cawing crows. In terms of what you understood, Saya, you got about half. They were talking about the hags. She did some kind of spell. They seemed to have more of a conversation. Jack pushed her to like talk about Strahd, and like you picked up the word Strahd from the lip reading, so they're like, okay, they asked her about him specifically. And then everyone's like horrified look as they look at this illusion baby just solidifies in your mind that this woman is crazy.
Was she able to put two and two together, or just there's something wrong with that child?
I'll definitely say because you saw the illusion flicker, you're there like, it's an illusion. But yeah, there's something like up with this baby. Like, she's obsessed with this baby.
Okay.
And then Aurora with a 17. You got, in fairness, the gist of the entire conversation. You're just missing a little bit of nuance. So, for example, like, while you got that she has a negative opinion of the hags, like, the exact wording, you miss it. And then the idea of Jack talks about Strahd, and she says something very glowing, very positive, but you miss the nuance of, like, he's my son.
Okay.
So you get the
Don't
entire...
worry, I'll know that in a bit.
Yeah, you get the gist of everything, and you get the impression that because of Jack, this actually turned out to be quite a positive conversation. But who knows how long that'll last.
Mm.
But yeah, Jack, Zonda, Amira, you begin heading out the hut.
She's good.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Say was just gonna go to Aurora and just kind of whisper to her, what? Oh, stage whisper, but why does she have an illusionary baby in the room with her?
I'm not entirely sure, but so cute.
She goes, I don't know about that. It just seems really weird and off-putting.
Oh, it's fully disconcerting, but the baby themselves is so adorable.
Let's get going, everyone. We've got a lot of things to do today.
Yes, and I need a new pair of boots so I can burn these ones.
Just clean them.
But they're gonna continue to smell.
Clean them with soap.
I still want a new pair of boots.
Damn, some people just got money to burn.
Saya kind of grabs Jack's arm and looks at him and goes, "You did a lot of magic. I've never seen anything like that before."
Neither have I. Talented.
Do you know what kind she was doing?
A single clue.
I wonder how strong she is.
Well, considering the majority of it was kind of divine and kind of her own little flavor, I would say it's old magic. And that she's definitely able to put her spin on it. So she's more powerful than you think.
Let's get going and we can talk on the road. We want to get out of this swamp so our shoes can dry up.
Be burned.
So
Jack is adamantly just trying to leave the swamp as fast as possible as of right now.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
As
Keep calm, but get the fuck out.
Saya's following, but she keeps her arm around his and is just at his side.
100%. Sonder is kind of in a bit of a similar situation where as soon as they start walking, he immediately grabs Amira's hand, and it's a very tight grip. But he kind of just... It's a very plastered on smile, but he still gives her a smile and a nod.
She smiles back at him. We're gonna be okay.
He just looks up at Jack and goes, why are we running away?
We're not, we're walking.
Just a nice walk through the swamp.
Was she nice?
Very
Let's
much
just
so.
shut up and keep walking.
And then she just looks at Amira. I don't know why you're so mean.
I'm not
There's
being
no
mean.
reason for it.
I'm saying this because it is more of a safety thing. Let's all shut up and just walk.
You're being mean.
Sonder will lean over to Saya and stage whisper, "We'll tell you everything once we're out of earshot. Just smile and keep walking."
She'll nod.
okay. Takes you a while. Even with using the cobbled streets as much as you can, getting yourself out of this area is difficult. The difficult terrain provided by the swamp slows your pace down a considerable amount. But you make it back to the pathway that you entered Berez from, and you're able to follow that trail back to that crossroads. So I guess the question then becomes, you're now at this fork in the road. What are you going to do now?
I think it's probably best if we go back to the tower. Let everybody know what we know. And then take it from there.
That's what I was thinking too.
Okay.
Sorry.
You begin to make your way back up the path that leads to the tower. And that's when you begin to hear an all too familiar sound. There's a call, and then another, and then another. Howls rising up from the forest.
Are they, like, surrounding us? Or do we have an option to run?
You always have the option to run. But if you run, then there's the potential of you being tracked. Or you can try and
Look at
hide.
the walls before. No, they're pretty simple to take out.
What's the plan, everyone?
Just looks to Jack. So we're fighting?
We were able to do it before. We have one extra person. See why we can't do it again.
Alright.
If we have to. 100%. Sandra will move a little bit away from everybody so he doesn't hurt anyone when he wild shapes.
Are you preemptively wild shaping?
Yes, absolutely, so I don't waste a turn when we start combat.
Okay, what are we becoming?
Let's go for the giant crocodile because that worked really well last time.
Do you still have that? Or was it taken away? No, okay. So I will set up you as the giant crocodile now.
Thank you.
Since for some reason you can't do it, and I think that's stupid.
I also think that's stupid.
Okay, so it was giant crocodile.
I have just embodied Jeffrey.
As it should be. Okay, so you're setting up this almost defensive position in the road. Are you doing anything
Unless we
else?
want to move?
Jack's gonna be holding his action to throw a card.
Okay, so we're not moving anywhere, we're just staying put?
See why not?
Holding action to strike somebody with a battle axe.
Okay.
Holding action to attack with my sword.
I'm gonna bite a motherfucker.
In that case, I will also hold an action.
Okay.
Actually, scratch that. I'm thinking I can hold a spell, but I can't. So never mind.
You can hold a cantrip.
Okay. In that case, yeah. I will hold. I'll hold sword burst.
Okay. Esmeralda immediately gets out, rapier in one hand, hand axe in the other. Feels the weight of the rapier in her hand, just like testing it. Doesn't necessarily try to hide, but also positions herself like a little bit further away from the road, just to be there, like away from the main clump of people.
Get an advantageous position.
Exactly that. And actually,
We should all probably do that so they don't get pack tactics.
and what we'll do, I think, is end the session there. Because I think that's quite a nice place to end it, knowing that we're going to be coming back, going straight into combat, preparing for these wolves and their descent upon you. So, thank you everyone so much for watching. We are 20 Sides of Failure. We stream every Friday at 7 PM EST, or you can catch the VODs every Tuesday on our YouTube channel that is the same name. I have been your DM, Eggs Benny, and thank you to my brilliant players, and we'll see you all again next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I